tops on, singing to that highway song. Got a little naive smile, the kind that drives you out. Nothing like playing with fire, brings boy to life. Beat you with a fuse you light, girl, you're dynamite. You made my day when you walked and sat down beside me, whispered with your eyes, let's go. You made me say, what's your name, girl, you're lonely. Can I call you if I ever go down there?
The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
14:20 in the morning, 14 minutes and 20 seconds where the sports talk to get you through your daily commute. Hot takes, recaps, best bets, and a little humor to get your day going in the right direction. Sit back, grab your coffee, and let's get into it. All right, 14:20 in the morning, a special for 14:20 for Sunday. This show is brought to you by SeatGeek.com, the SeatGeek app. Use promo code 1420pod at SeatGeek.com today and save yourself $20 on your first purchase over there at SeatGeek by using promo code 1420pod as always. And thank you very much for making this a part of your day each and every day here at 1420 World Headquarters. And remember, we are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Go to bellyupsports.com for all their great articles and other podcasts, such as Corner Boot Podcast, Rise of the Occasion, and one of my favorites, as you guys know, the guys over at Craft Brewed Sports. Always a good time with Mike and the guys over at Craft Brewed Sports. Well, there it is. The Edmonton Oilers, they made their bed. They said, this is what we're doing. And as I kind of hinted at a little bit with my article for the 1420sportsbar.com, go check that out. That changes were going to be coming in Oilers land. No, I'm not some sort of Nostradamus or soothsayer by any means. The Oilers got off that horrible 2-9-1 start with a win last night. They're 3-9-1, but you had to know that change were going to come. You can't fire 25 players. So what do? You fire the coach. It was announced just over an hour ago that Coach Jay Woodcroft and Dave Manson were both relieved of their duties this morning from the Oilers coaching staff, and they're thanks by Sia, and they're going to be replaced by Chris Knobloch, and well-known Chris Knobloch around these parts. He coached the Kootenay Ice a few years back to Western Hockey League Championship, most recently with the Hartford Wolfpack of the AHL, and then Paul Coffey's going to be joining behind the bench with Knobloch to shore up that Oilers defense, see what you can do. I got a little thought on that in half a second as well. But the coaching change is a bit of a surprise when it happened last night. They got the win last night. It hasn't been, I don't think it's been a coaching problem. Yes, there are a lot of people out there that said that Woodcroft changed the coaching philosophy, the defensive philosophy of the Oilers team over the offseason to try to copycat what the Las Vegas Knights did, Golden Knights, I guess, Vegas Golden Knights as they like to be called. They changed their coaching philosophy in oil country to try to mimic that, because National Hockey League is a copycat league, because the Vegas Golden Knights were successful. Well, why shouldn't the Oilers go out and do that same thing? It's all fine and dandy to blame this one on Woodcroft, but I'm going to put money on it, everything, and that Woodcroft wasn't the one that was behind this coaching philosophy and this defensive zone change and everything else. That is a decision that's made within the management group, within the coaching staff, within everybody who's involved with the way the game is played and with the way the game is coached. This wasn't one morning Woodcroft woke up and goes, you know what, I'm going to change everything that made it successful in the last few years. Yes, they didn't get to a Stanley Cup championship. They didn't get to the finals like they would hope, but I'm going to guarantee you it wasn't just Woodcroft who made this decision. This has to start with Ken Holland and filter on through the hockey ops and whoever's involved in that. And that had to be a decision made, probably a decision that wasn't made lightly, but it was a decision that was made, and a different playing philosophy and a coaching philosophy was instituted this year for the Edmonton Oilers. I just find it odd that they always place the blame on the coach. And yeah, like I said just a few moments ago, that you can't fire all the players. That's just not logical, and that's not the way payrolls work and everything else. But you look at McDavid and what he's done this season. It's not very good. He didn't get a point last night in Seattle. He's only got, I think he's on pace for 65 points or 68 points this year. He only has 2 goals, and there's guys like JT Campbell, Bobby Brink, and Pius Suter, well-known names around the National Hockey League. If you guys can name where those 3 guys play, play, you'll get a 14-20 prize pack that I will hand deliver to you if you can tell me where those 3 guys play. But when McDavid's only got the 2 goals, yeah, he seems to be a bit dinged up. He was injured, but he would look like he was playing a little better, playing a little bit of hop in his step with that game last week with the Vancouver Canucks. He looked like he had something going, but the puck's just not going in the net. He's not getting anything done. They got the 3-goal performance last night from Zach Hyman, natural hat trick in the first period that set the Oilers off to their first win. And it seems like since about 2 weeks ago, I guess, when that Winter Classic game happened, or Heritage Classic, whatever it's called. So I don't think you can blame the defensive change and everything else on what McDavid's lack of production this year. Like, remember last year he had 63 goals. This I think he had, and 153 points, whatever the ungodly numbers were. And this year he's on pace for 68 points total. And so when you have a team that's built with McDavid supposed to score goals, and Draisaitl to get any again last night, he seems to be really gripping a lot right now and not playing with a lot of confidence. When you have a guy that's supposed to score you 100 and 120, 130 points, and when your team philosophy is built around that, and you're paying the guy to do it, and then he doesn't produce, well, that's going to spell problems for the coach no matter what. Then you have the goaltending situation, the well-documented goaltending situation in Edmonton with Stuart Skinner. He played okay last night, got the 17 saves and 18 shots. So, but he hasn't been good, and that's just one of those things. He hasn't been good. And Campbell, he's down in the minors. He hasn't been good either, and that's just the way that's all played out for them. And now they're going to try to they'll run with Skinner from here on in and see what they can do, and possibly try to get some wins. We'll get to that in half a second too. But it's I don't think you can blame former head coach Jay Woodcroft on the lack of production from McDavid. I don't think it's a thing at all. And you get to a guy who I've liked throughout his career. He's been a long time Oiler, been there since the day he got drafted 12, 13 years ago now. It's been there a long time. In Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, he had a breakout season last year, 100-plus points, a lot of them on that power play that was so fantastic for the Oilers last year. They were almost automatic at a point last season where they were just scoring at will every time they were on the ice. But this year, things have not gone very well for the Nuge. He's got 3 points, I think, in total, 3 on the power play, or 4 points in total. It doesn't much matter. It's not very good. Whatever he's got, he gets paid a pretty handsome amount of money, and you think like he had a career high last year. I get that, but it's one of those things when that's another guy when you think he's going to score and you think he's going to get points and he doesn't get points. That's more of a reflection on the player, not on the former head coach. So so when you build a team and you have these expectations of these guys that are supposed to put up numbers for you to progress forward and do what you're supposed to do, and if they don't do it, then you have a major problem. It's not going to get it done. Then you go to the defensive side of the puck, and Darnell Nurse, it's not his fault. He's making $9.5 million or whatever it is. Anybody who listens to 1420 podcast, if they would turn down that kind of money, they're lying. They're 100% lying to you. He was offered a contract and he took it. Whether he held out or not, I do not know. I do not care. But somebody in Oilerland decided to pay him $9.5 million a year, and that's just way too much for a player of Nurse's pedigree. He's a good player, not a great player. He's not anywhere near Cale Makari's kind of a hockey player, and he got paid to be like when you pay a guy $9.5 million, that hurts your what you can do with your payroll. And Nurse is not that kind of a player who should have been paid that amount of money. And I don't like that contract. I don't like how it's all gone out, because he's only got 4 points this year. Guys like another 14-20 prize pack is up for grabs if you can name where these guys play. Dylan Samello and Jake Wallman, they all have more points than Darnell Nurse at his 9.25 or $9.5 million a year, and he topped out at 43 points in his career last year. So I think that overpayment of Nurse hurts that Oilers team a lot, and they're hamstrung with that contract. You can't go out and get piece players. You can't go out and get third and fourth liners who can put the puck in the net. And that, once again, is not on Jay Woodcroft at all. Jay Woodcroft didn't mismanage his team. Jay Woodcroft did not undercoach his team. Last year, he was a media darling and everything else, and how he got the Oilers. And then the year before, with the Oilers getting close to going to the finals. Remember, they've lost the eventual Stanley Cup champions the last 2 years in a row. So it's not on Woodcroft, in my opinion. This is still on Ken Holland and everything else. And I don't like making that coaching change right now. It kind of stinks a little bit, because remember, Knobloch was McDavid's coach in Erie in his last couple of years as a junior, or only 2 years a junior. So is this a case of the inmates running the asylum? Because this is McDavid's 5th coach he's been through, and that's a lot of coaches, and it's in eight years to keep recycling through and hoping something works. So did McDavid pout a little bit and finally get the guy he wanted behind the bench after 8 years of not winning and not doing anything? Because it just stinks to high heaven that they got a guy with 0 NHL experience going behind the bench to take over a team that's struggling. And they'll probably get the coach bump, the new coach bump. They win 2 out of 5 or 3 out of 5 or 4 out of 5 because they got a pretty tough road trip going out the East Coast, Florida, Tampa, and Carolina Hurricanes that are pretty good. Those are all 3 pretty good hockey teams, and they got Seattle at home and the Islanders at home tomorrow night. So you got to figure they're going to win those 2 games at home. And everybody saw they should have made this coaching change a long time ago. Look how great of a coach Knobloch is. Look what Paul Coffey's done, and they're going to get that bump. They'll probably win these next 2 games, have a 3-game winning streak, and everything. Oh, just look at this. Look how smart Holland is again. So Holland saved the season, but that's not the way it's going to work out. I don't think there's a team that struggles a lot, and it's a team that's just not very good right now, and the contracts are kind of hurting them. And you have your top 2 guns not putting the puck in the net. They're supposed to put the puck in the net. It just doesn't turn out well. And as far as having Paul Coffey behind the bench, I don't know. Like, what do I know? I don't know the guy by any means. It just seems to me that putting a Hall of Fame coach or a Hall of Fame player, behind the bench is a little bit tough, because you can't teach what Coffey knew. Like, he can't, like remember when Gretzky was behind the bench in Arizona. He couldn't communicate with what he knew and how he played the game with the way the new players play the game, and you can't teach that mentality. That's something that's ingrained in your soul. And you remember the way Coffey played. He was such an effortless skater, and you can't teach that. Like, the game's a lot different now, and the way the game is played and the skill level of what the Oilers have, they don't have that Paul Coffey kind of a mentality. And it's just I don't know if it's a great decision putting Coffey behind the bench. I mean, it probably can't hurt. I mean, it doesn't much matter. But you look at the Vancouver Canucks team was a rough and tumble guy like Rick talking behind the bench. And he calls out his team, and I like the way he coaches that. Like we talked with Jeff Patterson last week, the way he coaches that team along with Adam Foote out in Vancouver, how they've got a little bit of snarl to them. And those guys played with some snarl in their careers, and they found a way to communicate with that Canucks team. The Canucks team, they lost last night to Toronto. But I don't know if this coaching change is the right move right now to make for the Oilers. They should have just stuck it out and saw what they had for the rest of the year, because it's just, I don't know if it's going to make any difference. Like I said, they'll get the little bump, and they'll win a few games, and they'll end up maybe hunting down a playoff race, but they got to play 750 hockey from here on in. And like I said, they might get the next 2 wins with the Islanders and the Seattle Kraken, who are definitely scuffling a little bit. But you just think that this one kind of stinks to high heaven. I think that this one's kind of an ugly look for McDavid. Did he cry and whine, or just not cry and whine? That's the wrong term. Or did he say something? Maybe, why don't we go get Knobloch behind the bench? Who's my coach in junior? Everybody likes me. He's a good guy. It was one of those situations. Just to pick a guy out of the wood pile like that, it's an odd situation. And I don't know why they would have made the decision now, because if they were having to get a different coach, because was Knobloch getting picked up by somebody else in a hurry? Probably not. Like, it's not like anybody's banging down the door for him to be the next head coach of their hockey team. So why this decision was made now is a bit of a mystery. I would have let Woodcroft coach these next 2 games at home, see what they got going, and then go on that little road that road trip out east, and then, because that's going to be the real telltale sign of what kind of hockey club this is. And making this move right now is I think it's setting up Knobloch to kind of fail a little bit, and you're not going to see what kind of coach he can be and what he can do with this hockey club. I don't like the move. I think firing coaches is such a knee-jerk reaction. This team is built by one and only Ken Holland. We talked about that on Friday, that this is not a very good hockey team right now. And the Nurse contract, I think, is the worst one that's hurting them a little bit. And you just wonder how it's all going to play out in the coming week and a half ahead. It's an odd look. It was an odd time to fire a guy. After the San Jose loss, I would have done it. Maybe you didn't want to be on the road or whatever. I don't know. But after the San Jose deal, that's probably when I would have done it. But maybe it was one of those things where Knobloch had a game or whatever, and all the irons were in the fire already. Who knows? It's just it's an odd look. It's an odd way that this team is just kind of playing out before our eyes, and McDavid kind of getting his own guy in there. It stinks a little bit to me. Like, it could be just a conspiracy theory. It could be just a theory or whatever. I'd like to hear other people's thoughts on that. How you feel about Knobloch being put in, and McDavid maybe picking and choosing that. Yes, he's a superstar, and yes, he's the best player to play the game. So you're going to be asking, like I'm sure Ken Holland and the coaching and the rest of the coaching staff and management group went out and they went and had a conversation with David about what he thought and who he thought maybe to come in. But just to have him come in and his old junior coach, it just kind of stinks to me. And especially for a guy with no NHL experience. I know you have to get your first job eventually, and it has to work out. But usually you're not going to go out and grab a guy at this stage in the game that doesn't have the NHL experience. Yeah, he's been in the AHL for quite a few years now, but just to go out and grab this guy, it's kind of a different look for me. And I just like that. Let me know what you guys think at 1420sports at gmail.com or Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, whatever. Just let me know what you think. It's just it's an ugly one. Coaches get fired no matter what throughout the National Hockey League. It's not going to be the last one this year. It's not going to be the last time the Oilers fire a coach probably in the next few years. It's just like he'll get hired to get fired again. It's just the way it works. It's McDavid. If he's hurt, they shouldn't have been playing him because they were going to. They lost with him, so why not just lose without him and let him rest up? If he's not hurt, then that's a bigger problem. And the dry silos of the world, they got to start playing a little bit better. He had a shift the other night that was just awful. It didn't look good. He was coasting around the ice, not doing anything. So that's how many games without a point. So you get those guys not putting the puck in that. That's what you got. You got a team that's 3-9-1 right now in big jeopardy. They made a change it, and they're trying to do something. I mean, I guess if they didn't fire the coach and they lose the next 5, we're having a different conversation, right? So it's just the timing of it, how it all looked. It kind of stinks to high heaven to me, and I'm not sure how I like it. Let me know your thoughts. And it's a curious thing up there in oil country. Calgary Flames, they look like they're going to have a rebuild now. They had a player, can't remember his name, doesn't much matter. He's asked for a trade through his agent on Twitter and blah, blah. So it's just the Flames are going to scuffle all season long. Leafs looked good last night, though, against Vancouver. They got some goaltending, and they put the puck in the net, and it was a pretty good-looking Leafs team last night. Make sure you guys check out all our podcasts we did this week. I did that one with Jim, fan of the van, yesterday about the Yankees woes and how that's all going to turn out in the coming weeks and months and years ahead with the Yankees, and then all the great interviews I had all week long with the National Hockey League. We've got a bunch of guys in the sports media world that were more than gracious to come on the show. So make sure you guys check all those out either on YouTube, and you should subscribe to our YouTube channel while you're at it, and or up wherever you get your podcast. And make sure you go to the 1420 Sports Bar .com to check out some great articles that I've written and put together. Brad Linsky's Ramblings was a pretty good one this week. I put stuff on there. It makes me my brain wrinkle a little bit, but the one about who's a better degreaser, Sandy or Don, and there's a lot of people I know don't get it because I was at the Hurricanes game here in Lethbridge on Friday night, and somebody that I know came up to me and said, I'm old and I know who Sandy is, so he got the joke. But anyways, make sure you go check out Red Linsky's Ramblings at the 1420sportsbar.com and check out some of the great articles, and everything 1420 related is right up there for your reading pleasure. And here's a little word from our friends at SeatGeek.
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like the High Five Strangers guy. Game-winning interception? First down? Just a nice, solid tackle. If you're in arm's length, you will be swapping skin with this extrovert. You see, he knows SeatGeek got him a great deal on tickets, so he can focus on what he does best, smacking palms. SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
That's promo code 1420pod at SeatGeek.com today to save yourself $20 on your first purchase over there at SeatGeek. Start buying some Christmas presents, stocking stuffers, put some tickets in someone's stocking, get that going for the holiday season, which is right around the corner. Now that Remembrance Day is done, I hope everybody took a moment yesterday. Remember all the veterans and everything else that allow us to do the things that we do on a yearly basis every year that they kind of get forgotten about. And you think about what was going on, like you watch those ceremonies that were on TV yesterday and last night before the Leafs game there, you watch that, and it's very it's heartfelt, and it must be a painful reminder, but like it's to the stuff that you read about how war actually was and fighting for our freedom, like especially those guys in World War I and World War II, that was actually about preserving our freedoms that we have, and not some other wars that have gone on. I'm not saying anything bad about the veterans who served in those wars, but World War I and World War II, that allows us to do what we do and to do this kind of stuff on a daily basis. So make sure, even though it was yesterday, maybe take a moment. You should do it every day. Like a poppy should be worn every day, not just up to November 11th and call it good. It's one of those things. So it's it's just it's heartfelt, and it gets people talking and thinking about what went on all those years ago. But anyways, here is let's get to birthdays and on this days, and get everybody to enjoy the rest of their Sunday. Make sure you make us a part of the rest of your week as well, right? So here it is. On this day in 1986, Roger Clemens of the Boston Red Sox won the American League Cy Young Award for the first time in his career. He went 24-4 on the season, leading the Red Sox to a World Series berth. The Red Sox lost to the New York Mets. But anyways, Clemens was also named to the All-Star game that season, as well as the American League MVP after posting a 2.48 ERA in the in 330 innings that he pitched. Clemens he finished 10 games that he studied of the 33 games that he started. When Clemens would go on to win the Cy Young Award 7 times in his career, 3 times with the Red Sox, twice with the Toronto Blue Jays, and once with the Yankees, and once with the Houston Astros, he had a career low ERA of 1.87 with the Astros that year. In his 24-year career, he had a record of 354 and 184 with 118 complete games and 3.12 ERA. 4,672 strikeouts, and was an 11-time All-Star with stops in Boston, Toronto, Houston, and New York with the Yankees as well. A couple of times there. But yeah, Clemens, say what you want about Roger Clemens and his career. The guy and the steroids and the HGH and everything else that's going, the misremembering story that he had with Andy Pettit is one of the most famous lines still to this day. But say what you want. I think he should be a Hall of Famer. He was, everybody was doing it. So one of those things, Clemens was an all-time great and one of the most feared pitchers in the history of baseball. No, Clemens was he's a Hall of Famer, and it's a shame that he's not in the Hall of Fame, because he's a part of history. 7 Cy Young Awards and the 4,000 plus strikeouts, on and on and on it goes. It's a shame that he's not in there, but everybody knows that Clemens is a Hall of Famer. If you watch baseball, you know that Clemens is a Hall of Famer. And here we go. Happy 79th birthday to Al Michaels, born on this day in 1944 in Brooklyn, New York. Michaels grew up a Brooklyn Dodger fan, and he and his family moved to Los Angeles in 1958. The same year Brooklyn moved from Brooklyn to LA that year. Michael's first sports broadcasting job came in 1967 when he was hired to do public relations and be a color commentator with the LA Lakers. He was fired after just 4 games because Lakers radio play-by-play man Chick Hearn's displeasure with working with such a young Al Michaels in the broadcast booth. Michaels has called 13 Super Bowls, 7 World Series, been a part of either the host or play-by-play caller in 8 Olympics, including what might be the most memorable moment in all of sports history, the Miracle on Ice back in 1980, the U.S. hockey team. And here is that soundbite from 1980.
McClanahan is there. The puck is still loose. 11 seconds. You've got 10 seconds. The countdown going on right now. Morrow up to Schultz. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's one of the all-time greatest sports moments, not just hockey moments, greatest sports moments in the history of anything. Like 1980, the Cold War was on with Russia and everything else, and the way that American group of college kids beat the mighty Russians back in 1980. I was 6 years old at the time, so I remember it a little bit. I actually remember watching the game that afternoon. It was something to behold. That's a soundbite. When you say, "Do you believe in miracles?" Everybody knows exactly who said it and exactly what the game was and what the stakes were, and it was an amazing accomplishment. I remember Jim Craig was in net, Mike Caruzioni, and just all of it was such a great moment in sports history, and like not even just for American hockey fans, but hockey fans right across the world, sports fans, because the Olympics, how big they are. But so that was Al Michaels. Happy birthday to Al Michaels. Anyways, there's our 14:20 in the morning special emergency edition with the firing of Oilers head coach Jay Woodcroft, and good luck to Chris Knobloch. You're going to need it, and with Paul Coffey on your side there, you never know what might happen. Maybe it's a turnaround the Oilers need, and they're going to go out and win. So tough 5-game stretch for them coming up here with 3 of those 3 games out on the East Coast with 2 Florida teams, with Tampa and the Florida Panthers, and then of course the Carolina Hurricanes, who are no slouch whatsoever in the National Hockey League. So it should be interesting to see how it goes. Make sure you check out some other podcasts as you're wrapping up your weekend here and everything else. Go to our YouTube channel, watch a bunch of those too, because it all helps the show a lot, and we appreciate everything, all those people who do support us. So there it is. 14:20 in the morning for this Sunday afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your day, folks, and remember, it doesn't matter where you are, it's who you're with. We'll talk to you tomorrow. You just listened to the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast. 4 beer with sports, talking a whole lot more. We are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Let's get into it.